High Sports, AM 1340, FM 104.7, 100th episode of the Sports Guy Mike Show on Mile High Sports. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, making us part of your day for 100 episodes. Hopefully we'll be here for another 100. Real quick, thanks to Elizabeth and Jessica for coming by from Zap Laser Center. Make sure you go check them out. They're located at Quincy and Parker in Aurora. You can either call them at 877-ZAP-IT-FOR-YOU or visit them online at zaplaser.com. I'll be going next week to get one more treatment. I think I'll be good for like a while, which would be awesome, especially with the summertime, dude. I hate shaving my neck in the summertime. It gets worse for me. Like,
yeah, I
big
can
time.
imagine. Sweat.
Big time.
Yeah.
Not that you have that problem, bro.
Nope. Cool.
All right. There on the Audi hotline, we have Pat Miletich, former UFC champion and, quite frankly, a legend in the sport. How you doing today, Pat?
Doing good, guys. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning, man. Good morning.
Excellent.
So I was contacted by an associate of yours, and he told me that you are taking on the Leadville 100.
Well, we'll see who takes on who. But
I like that.
I've been training hard for it since last September. Yesterday we did a 50-mile run.
Whoa!
Down Highway 6 here in Iowa in 90-degree heat and probably 95% humidity. It was a rough day yesterday, but we got it done. Just getting ready and looking forward to being out in Colorado. I love Colorado, so any reason to get out there, even to torture myself and do the Leadville 100, it's an excuse, right?
Hey, Pat, you are, quite the legend in, in the world of the UFC and MMA. What's making you kind of want to do something like the Leadville 100? What brought you to this decision?
To be honest with you, it's something I've always been, for some reason, addicted to things that really give me big adrenaline dumps, things that scare me. And, the Leadville 100, for the people that know about it, obviously your listeners understand it, but the Flatlanders here in Iowa are just learning about it because myself and some of my friends are doing it. It's a scary thing. I mean, you're running 100 miles between 10,000 and almost 13,000 foot altitude. It's no joke. And so I've chased tornadoes for many years.
Wow.
The pastime. Fighting in the cage for many years also to make a living for a portion of my life. So it's just something that I think I'm addicted to it, and I was looking for a new mission, and some friends of mine have done it several times, and they've conquered it a couple times, and I figured, well, hell, I want to ride their coattails a little bit and go get a belt buckle.
Hey, Pat, this is Kyle here. Do you ever can you just say, well, man, let me just go get in a fight? Because it seems like it would be easier than running 100 miles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, yeah, and it would. And there is also the 100-mile Leadville bike race out there. But, that's the guys that do the lead man thing and do the marathon out there, the 50K run, the 100-mile bike ride, the triathlon, and the 100-mile trail run. To get that accomplishment, those guys are absolute freaks, and there's a lot more out there that people are doing than just that, So
we're talking to Pat Miletich, former UFC champion and UFC legend. Now, Pat, I have seen you on Access TV. What are you currently doing now, other than obviously training for the Leadville 100?
I do broadcasting about 40. I think we've got 44 shows this week. So I'm in different cities around the country, 44 weeks out of the year. I fly out on usually Thursday, do the show on Friday night, fly home on Saturday morning. But I own a law enforcement military training company.
Yes, I
called
saw that.
Fire Horse Combatives, and then doing a podcast with a good friend of mine and a very accomplished guy, Jeff Wilson, called The Conspiracy Farm.
Oh, wow.
And so we basically, with the Conspiracy Farm, our whole thing was, he and I have talked for many years about how, the media just doesn't tell people what's really going on. And so, and Americans are too busy to actually research it themselves. They go to work and come home and take the kids to swim practice, football practice, whatever, hang out with the family, eat dinner, watch a little TV and go to bed. So they don't really have the time to research things like a guy like myself who, when I'm on the road, I have time between production meetings to do research and find out what's really going on and tell people. So we tell people, if they want to look us up, they can go to conspiracyfarm.com and learn a little bit more about the podcast. And if they listen to the show and we say something that maybe doesn't sit with them right, they can do the research themselves, or something that interests them, do the research themselves and find out if myself and Jeff are telling them the truth.
Pat, is that kind of even why maybe you think you might have gotten into broadcasting, for MMA, just because sometimes some people think that the guy that's been through it makes the better broadcast than the guy that's only read about it?
Well, I mean, there's a play-by-play guy and a color guy.
Sure.
Right? I'm the color guy. I'm the guy that's I'm the why guy. So, my partner right now who I work with is Michael Chavella, one of the absolute best I've ever worked with and one of the best in the business. He can do any sport there is and much, much more. His job is to, explain backstories, describe the action as it's going on. And it's my job to be the why guy and add to, when he screams, huge right hand by Smith. Well, I have to tell the fans at home why and how that happened.
Right.
Why one guy made a mistake and why the other guy was setting him up and, things like that. So that people come away from that saying, okay, I'm a little more educated about what's really going on.
Now, let me ask you something, Pat, that a lot of people talk about, and that's, with the UFC and the whole Dana White thing, and a lot of fighters are leaving the UFC to go to Bellator and other stuff like that. I kind of wanted to get your take on that. What's really going on in there? Is it really as bad as a lot of fighters? Because I've talked to fighters that have left the UFC to go to Bellator and other places, and, they're saying that a lot of the fighters over there just aren't happy with the pay structure.
Well, I mean, I'm a guy that's there's talk of a union, there's talk of this, talk of that, a lot of things. I can say that, some athletes' experiences at the UFC have obviously been very bad. Some
Right.
athletes have been very good. It just depends on the individual. But when there's only one game in town and one person that can write those big checks, they can kind of dictate what they do with you, whether you're, anybody's expendable, but you're more so expendable when there's only one company that's truly dominating the market. So it's important for Bellator to be able to survive and thrive and become big and compete for those athletes. And I wouldn't mind 2 or 3 more even, big organizations, because that's just, fair business practices, basically. So it's not about shutting one group down. It's more about helping the ones that are trying to be successful, and
Right.
so that the athletes have a choice.
Hey, Pat, you won UFC 16. We're on the eve of 199 and then next month 200. Did you ever imagine in your wildest dream that at 16 the UFC would one day be worth a valuation of what people are billing of $4 billion? Did you ever see that in your wildest dream?
I did. People ask me that all the time, and whether I saw the sport getting big. I really did. There was a time when me sitting on a plane and a couple other athletes from the show sitting on the plane. One guy's got a black eye, another guy's got stitches over his eye, whatever. And people ask, what do you guys do? They see our cauliflower ears, and then we explain the sport to them, because most people at that time really didn't truly understand the sport. And by the time you got off a plane, you had a new fan, and so it was spreading very slowly at that time. But I knew that eventually it would take people with some serious money and some power to latch onto the sport and take it where it needed to be. And that those people happened to be the Fertittas and Dana White teaming up and doing it. So I knew it was coming. I really did.
Well, Pat, we wish you all the best on the Leadville 100, man. And is there any way that they can get a hold of you or anything you're promoting that you want to throw out there real quick?
Sure, yeah. They can find me, like I say, on conspiracyfarm.com. They can go to Pat Miletich on Facebook, at Pat Miletich on Twitter. And yeah, by all means, send me messages, and I do my best to respond quickly, guys.
Can we talk to you after the Leadville 100? I've got to hear how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not immediately.
We might have to give you some time.
If it goes well.
There you go.
No, we want to hear it. We want to hear it either way, right?
Hey, if I implode on the side of the trail and burn up in a heap, yeah, we'll talk anyway.
No doubt.
Hey, Pat,
Appreciate
thanks
it.
for the time, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. Pat Miletich, former UFC champion and Access broadcaster, taking on the Leadville 100 in August. So good Good luck to him. All right, Sports Guy Mike Show. Stick around when we get back. Picks of the day and one last story. Don't go nowhere.
Lie 'em down 'cause we stronger now. The time is now. I need one mic.